This week has been eventful for sure. And instead of talking about one thing today, I want to cover a few topics in this video, okay? And most of it is going to be from the Russia-Africa summit, but also we're going to talk about the new coup, Niger's coup. Like, I don't think a lot of people saw that coming, but it did happen, and it shook a lot of Western countries as well as some leaders, because they know it's going to be them tomorrow if they don't act right. So let's start with Russia-Africa summit. The meeting concluded yesterday, which was 28th of July. It was a productive one, to say the least, because Putin ended up forgiving $23 billion of debt that was owed by African countries. Imagine that, fam. $23 billion. That's a lot of money. And that's money that can now go to development in those countries that have been forgiven, like, build your public schools, build your roads, make sure that there's enough food. Like, this money can go a long way. Like, it's not peanuts, it's actual good money. $23 billion can do a lot, especially when you convert it to our currencies, because now dollar has been running the world, and that is why there's lots of talks when it comes to de-dollarization, and we're for that. Let's see them coming up with a new currency, but until it comes, we do what we can. So Putin forgave African countries about $23 billion, and also he promised that he is going to give out grains for any African country that might need food or have shortage. So that's a plus as well, obviously. But at the end of the day, I don't like us depending on any country. It doesn't matter if it's the West or Russia or China or the Arab world. It just doesn't matter. What matters is that we are self-sufficient and we rely on ourselves. That is really important, because whenever someone promises any sort of help, I'm just cautious, because I'm like, I don't want us to now start depending on that country, acting like they're our saviors. No one is our savior. We need to get up, do our work, do what needs to be done, stand up for ourselves and our people, and eat from our own lands and benefit from our natural resources. Of course, we have to be strategic and work with other countries and other continents. We have to work. At the end of the day, I say this all the time, we're not living in a vacuum. We still need to cooperate and live with the rest of the world, but it has to be strategic. It has to be a win-win situation. It can no longer be a win-win for them and just a lose-lose for us. It's been done before. We've seen it happen, and we're tired of it, and we want change. What we want is partnership, equal partnership. So yeah, he also promised grain, as I said, and that was the meeting. But also African leaders had a few things to say during that meeting, but the one that really stood out for me was the young leader of Burkina Faso. He talked about how African leaders should not be puppets for the West. Let me just show you a snippet of that.
It's not quite clear to me how come that Africa, that has so many resources, water, solar energy, how come that currently it is the poorest continent in the world with the highest levels of famine? How come that we have to ask for help? We ask ourselves, but we don't get any answers. We have a chance to build new relationship. Hopefully, this relationship will be for the better to us in order to build a better future for our country. On behalf of my generation, I would like to say that due to poverty, many had to cross oceans in quest for a better life. At times, they die. At times, they starve. It's hard for them to survive. As for Burkina Faso, it's been 8 years since we have been facing the most barbaric and violent form of colonialism, barbarism. We are imposed this modern form of slavery. We were taught one thing:
Nous ne nous apitoyons pas sur nos sorts, on ne demande pas que quelqu'un s'apitoie sur notre sort.
A slave that
Le
cannot
peuple burkinabé a
rebel
décidé de lutter,
does not deserve
de
pity.
lutter contre les terroristes à
And we
mesure de relancer
decided
son
to
développement.
fight
Dans cette lutte,
against terrorists
des vaillants peuples,
that
des vaillantes populations se sont engagés
impede
à prendre
our
les armes
development
face aux terroristes.
and our
Ce
struggle.
que nous avons affectueusement
Our
appelé les
peoples
VDP, des
decided
volontaires.
to take up arms in order
Nous
to
sommes
fight
surpris de voir
terrorism.
les impérialistes traiter ces VDP de
surprised
milices et
that
de tout type.
Imperialists,
C'est décevant. Parce qu'en Europe, que les peuples
they
prennent
are
les armes
called
pour défendre leur patrie, on les
militarized
traite de
units,
patriotes. Nos grands-pères ont été déportés pour
militarized
sauver l'Europe.
groups.
C'était
In
pas avec
Europe,
leur consentement,
people
contre leur gré.
take arms in order to
Et
defend
bien au
their
retour, on se
motherland.
rappelle
They
bien qu'à
are
Tcharoy,
called that
lorsqu'ils ont voulu
they say that
revendiquer
they are
leurs
not
droits élémentaires,
patriots,
ils ont été
but when
massacrés.
my
Cela ne fait rien donc.
grandfather had to take up
Lorsque
arms,
nous,
it was
peuple, nous
against his
décidions
will.
de nous défendre, on nous traite de milices. Mais là n'est pas le problème. Ce qui est le problème, c'est de voir des
When
chefs
people
d'État
decide
africains
to take up
qui
arms,
n'apportent rien à ces peuples qui se battent, mais qui chantent la même chose que
there's
les
another
impérialistes.
problem. The
en nous
problem
traitant
is
de
that
milices, en nous
the
traitant
heads
donc
of African states do not give
d'hommes qui ne
anything to
respectent
these
pas les droits
people
de l'homme.
who fight
C'est pas le droit
against
de l'homme, pardon.
imperialism. They're
Nous nous
calling
offusquons
us
contre cela et c'est
armed
honteux.
units,
Il
bandits.
faut que nous, chefs africains, nous arrêtons de nous comporter
We do
donc
not
en
agree
marionnettes
with
qui
such
dansent
an
à chaque fois
approach.
que les impérialistes tirent sur les ficelles. Hier, le président Vladimir
Leaders
Poutine
of
a
African
annoncé donc
states should not
l'envoi
be
de céréales en
puppets
Afrique. Nous sommes bien contents.
when
Nous lui disons merci pour
imperialists
cela. Mais aussi, c'est un message
treat them
passé à nous,
like
chefs d'État
that.
africains. Parce qu'au prochain
I would
forum,
like
nous ne
to
devrons pas venir
convey
ici
a message to heads
sans
of
avoir
African
assuré, pour
states.
ceux qui ne connaissent pas la guerre, l'autosuffisance alimentaire de nos peuples. Nous devons prendre l'expérience de ceux qui ont pu déjà
We need
atteindre cela en Afrique,
to ensure
tisser de bonnes relations ici, et tisser de
self-sufficiency of
meilleures
our
relations avec
peoples, of our
la Fédération de
countries.
Russie.
It was nice hearing his bold speech. And, at the end of the day, yes, they are temporary military governments, both Mali and Burkina Faso, and they were both present for this meeting. But we go by what people are saying, and people on the ground, most people that we're seeing, at least on social media, and as well as the people that are out protesting and supporting, are saying that they support their military governments and they seem to like their governments, which is a positive thing for us. And the end goal is, of course, for them to set up a system where the people can choose who they want to be in that position and have a civilian government. But at the end of the day, if they're doing the right thing right now, making the right steps, we're not mad at it. Like, Mali has been kicking out French troops and removing French as their language, and Burkina Faso also was kicking out foreign troops. So when we can see actual work being done, we have to appreciate them. And now the other topic I wanted to talk about is the Niger coup. It happened just a few days ago, and Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum is being held captive. After the military took over, they locked him in with his guards, and they say he's in good health, but he's still under, you can call it house arrest. But a lot of Western leaders have been speaking up and speaking out about this coup. Antony Blinken made a speech, and he said that Mohammed has their full unwavering support, and other leaders also mentioned that. I believe the UN general also talked about it and said this is unacceptable, and other leaders are also afraid because this shows them that they are not invincible. Like, the power is with the people, and if the people are tired of you, they are going to remove you. We want a democratic election, but if they refuse to give the people what they have promised, and if they don't know that there's going to be consequences, it's just going to continue the way it is. And unfortunately, even though this is just the most dramatic way of taking power, I don't know what else honestly can be done, because some leaders are just headstrong. And to top it all off, this leader, for example, Niger's president, is a Western ally. So obviously, if he's not going to serve the people and he's going to act as a puppet, what is the alternative, honestly? But it's ironic how just 2 weeks ago, President Bola Tinubu, as his first speech at the ECOWAS, as the ECOWAS chair, he said that there is no longer going to be any coup and we're not going to allow it. And look at what happened, another coup. Anyways, fam, let me know down below what your thoughts are about this. I'm really interested to hear from you what has been happening in Africa this past few days. I am Wongil Zelalem. I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed. Bye.